This might be the most important video of the entire week, Broncos Country, because we've got some breaking news surrounding the Denver Broncos, updating their starting lineup, and that, of course, includes the offensive line moves. Matt Peart going to IR, signing Calvin Throckmorton, and then some Palczewski stuff that we'll talk about. But, of course, the big question on everybody's mind, what's going to happen with Dre Greenlaw? Are we on Dre Greenlaw watch this week? Well, signs indicate that he is ready to return back to practice, which means he could end up coming back against the New York Giants this Sunday. Let's start with the offensive line, though. The Broncos must be deliberate with the offensive line. After Ben Powers goes down and is out until December on the IR, and then Matt Peart, who we'll talk about in just a little bit, he is now on IR. That left guard position is a very, very important one that will be filled by one of two guys, which, again, we'll talk about here in just a minute. Before I do that, we are literally 2,100 likes away from smashing our October goal. And at the time of this recording, it's October 15th. So we almost beat it halfway through the month. So do me a favor, Broncos Country. If you love these types of videos, if you love your daily updates, smash that thumbs up icon. Let's start with Palczewski. I don't understand why they didn't play him last week. I mean, this is a guy that I believe has so much versatility in his game. He can play a multitude of positions on the O-line. He can play guard. He can play tackle. He could probably play center if you wanted him to. But recently, the Denver Broncos updated their depth chart ahead of the New York Giants game, and this is what it looks like. This is from the team website, by the way. So in case anybody's wondering, where did you get this information? This is from the Denver Broncos themselves. Now, you'll notice something. Palczewski has the asterisk next to his name. This is still a TBD position, meaning the Broncos have kind of left the door open to elevate, or not elevate, because they already elevated him, activate Calvin Throckmorton for that starting left guard position. But as of right now, Palczewski is your starter against the New York Football Giants. This is going to be key. The Giants' best part of their team is their defensive line. Their front seven is outstanding. And if I'm going back and looking at all of the offensive snaps for the Broncos, Matt Peart played 100% of the snaps. Why is that significant? Well, not only was he awful against the New York Jets, it is now coming out that he injured his leg in the third play, or on the third play, which would lead you now to believe why he had such a bad game. Mike Kliss was on this, and I trust Mike Kliss with my Denver Broncos information. So saying that it's believed that Peart suffered that knee injury on the third play of the game and then continued to play 57 more offensive snaps seems admirable, right? Well, yes, but also no. This is an admirable feat by Peart. I was talking to one of the guys here at Chat Sports who played college football, and he said as a player and as a former player, this is the best move that Peart could have made as a teammate and as a football player. But it is on the coaching staff to be the adults in the room and say, hey, look, if his leg is not up to snuff, he's got to get out of there because it's affecting the performance. And you clearly saw the negative impact that Peart had on the game. And I get it. The injury caused a lot of that, or presumably caused a lot of that. However, 3 holding calls and a PFF grade of 29.4 left a lot to be desired. And he's not even a guard. He's a tackle that kind of put into that guard position. I didn't think it was the right move from the beginning to play Peart. I also believe that at some point, you probably should have made a switch. But hey, look, that's not my, position to say. That is not my position to call out Sean Payton for the coaching decision. Here's what I will ask you, though. Who should start at left guard for the Broncos versus the Giants? My opinion, it's Alex Palczewski. But you can let me know in the comment section down below. I could also see it being Calvin Throckmorton. Now, Throckmorton is one of those players, he's literally a tree stump of a human being. He's so strong. He's so powerful. The only thing that I wonder about him is that, does he have the explosiveness as an athlete, that swiftness as an athlete, to kind of really bully a really good New York Giants defensive line? I think it remains to be seen. However, the two trench guys that you're going to be having to lean on for the remaining, we'll call it 6 games until Ben Powers is ready to come back, are these two guys. So, one, you've got to be deliberate in their training, making sure that they're not getting hurt. And two, you've got to be coaching them up the right way to say, hey, look, both of you are going to be leaned upon heavily to maintain the stability of this really, really explosive and powerful Broncos offensive line, which still, by the way, remains one of the best in the NFL in statistics. So like I said, I just need these two guys to hold the fort down until Powers returns, because Powers is having an unbelievable season. He is. I believe they can. It's just a matter of how do you coach them, right? How is their training? How are they looking in practice? Who are you elevating? Who are you sitting? Who are you rotating? Because I could see both of them coming in multiple times in every single game and just kind of having this rotation at guard if both of them are just solid, not great. But Palczewski, believe it or not, has played the most this year. Obviously, right? Throckmorton was on the practice squad. And Palczewski has 51 snaps, only 1 penalty allowed, 0 sacks, and a PFF grade of basically 54. So it's not great. It's not terrible. But like I said, if he can come in and just stabilize the left guard position, the Broncos are still on paper one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Even PFF says it. Now remember, PFF's not the Bible, but they ranked every single offensive line going into Week 7. And this is after the Matt Parrott injury designation. They're still ranking the Broncos as the number 2 offensive line heading into Week 7. So it's going to be a real test. Can these guys hold up against a very stout front 7 for the New York Football Giants? It remains to be seen. I'm really excited to watch it. Now, coming up here in just a minute, Dre Greenlaw. Could he return against the New York Giants? I'm going to tell you why it's important considering what they're going up against, the Broncos, that is, in a New York Football Giants offense that features 2 new players that can burn you. Now, before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Do not miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Did you know you can now follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in just one click, whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner like producer Alper on the ones and twos, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the brand new feed tab over on Prize Picks. How do you play? It is very simple. You pick the player, right? Like LeBron James, like Patrick Mahomes or Bo Nix. You pick their stat projections, the more or the less, and then you watch your money multiply up to 2,000 times your money this football season on Prize Picks. All you have to do is download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that going to be in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. So Dre Greenlaw was placed on short-term IR on September 20th for the Denver Broncos, and he is eligible to return to practice this week. It is believed, by the way, that with a good amount of practice, Greenlaw, combo the names there, Dre Greenlaw could play this week. Mike Kliss back on it. The Dre Greenlaw watch resumes this week. The Broncos inside linebacker, who we paid all that money to, is eligible to return to practice today. He missed the first 6 games with quad problem going back to late April. Yes, we know that. Look, here's what I'll tell you. Against the New York Giants, you are going to see an attacking of the middle of the field because Cam Scatteraboo is a psychopath. Jackson Dart, who can use his legs, is a psychopath. These are 2 dudes that stare CTE in the face and they laugh. And you need Dre Greenlaw back, not only as a run stopper, but someone that can play back in pass coverage. Alex Singleton, we've seen a couple of good games here, a couple bad games there. We know he's not good in coverage. And the Broncos linebacker room has been riding with Stranad, Alex Singleton, and Karene Reed sparingly. But mostly it's been Stranad and Singleton. Now, it could be that Dre Greenlaw has to have another good week of practice. They won't bring him back against the Giants. But I would like to see, if he has 2 good weeks or a good week at practice, him play sparingly. Sorry about that. He helps so much this week. He helps so much this week because the Giants figured out how to beat the Eagles. Now, so did we, but the Giants beat them handedly. The Broncos beat them on the last drive of the game, or not the last drive of the game, but late in the fourth quarter. You get my point. I think I know that Daboll is going to look at the weak spots of the Denver Broncos, and they're going to say, we cannot take any chances against this pass rush. We are going to ground and pound the football all game long and try to escape mile high in a low-scoring affair and just come out with the W. The Broncos have 30 sacks in 6 games. That is all-time stuff, literally all-time. They're on pace to beat the 85 Bears. And Cam Skattebo, who we saw go absolutely bananas against the Philadelphia Eagles, is going to be leaned upon to dismantle by death of 1,000 cuts against the Denver Broncos. Just look at his stat line against the Eagles last week on Thursday Night Football. 19 carries, 2 receptions, 110 total yards, and 3 touchdowns. He got the hat trick. Now, it's not just Skattebo that you have to worry about because this kid, Jackson Dart, by the way, their rookie quarterback, he's a player that, I look at and I'm like, this kid can ball a little bit. He can play. He's a decent player. What's going on, producer Up? Are you all right? All right, good. Good news. Okay, got news. Got it. Sorry, little brief pause there. We just got some breaking news here in the office. Well, maybe not breaking, but we'll tell you guys a little bit later. We'll figure it out as we go along. Back to the on target stuff. Jackson Dart can play. I'm not saying that Jackson Dart's going to go out and torch you for 300 yards, but this is a guy that does not make a lot of football. He plays with he doesn't make a lot of mistakes with the football. He plays with confidence. He plays with swagger, and the numbers reflect that. This is a kid that's not afraid to go out there, stand in the pocket, manipulate it around, dance around, and make plays with his legs. His quarterback rating might not be great, but what I've seen so far from Jackson Dart on the tape is that if you give him time to throw, if you give him time to make plays, he can. Now, not every game is going to be good for a rookie quarterback. He's still figuring out the ins and outs, and going up against a Broncos defense that will absolutely dismantle you as a rookie is going to be a tough test for him. But Dre Greenlaw, back to what we're talking about, is not only good against the run, but he's also good in dropping back in coverage. So getting Dre Greenlaw back to combat the likes of a guy like Cam Skattebo and to drop back in pass coverage and be that green dot linebacker over the middle of the field against Jackson Dart is definitely something the Broncos need. So, before we get on out of here today, will Dre Greenlaw make his return versus the Giants? Yes or no? I think, honestly, probably not. But the fact that he's returning to practice this week, and if he does have a good couple of practices, you could see him back. So I'm going to hover on the no, but it's not a guaranteed stamp. So I'm very interested to see what happens this week. I'm going to keep my eyes on a bunch of different Broncos outlets, bunch of different Broncos news sources. I got to be ready to make that video that Dre Greenlaw is returning. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Like today's video, and as always, Broncos Country, be cool.